Alright, welcome everyone to part 3 of the Grand Tournament review of all of the cards that have been released thus far. And I'm going to hop right into starting with the Druid class, and I'm going to be going through all the class cards now. So, yeah, if you missed part 1 or 2, feel free to check them out. They'll be linked in the description, maybe some annotations around. Subscribe to my channel. Do whatever you gotta do to find those videos and go ahead and watch them. Anyways, let's get it started. First off, we have the 1-mana spell Living Roots, which is a common spell. Choose one, deal 2 damage, or summon 2 1/1 saplings. I think this card's good. You know, you have the option to deal either 2 damage to face, you know, in case you need that little finisher. 2 damage to clear a minion off the board when Wrath doesn't really feel that great to you. Or you can summon 2 1/1 saplings, which, you know, you can do plenty of things with. You know, they can be buffed by Savage Roar. You know, they can help you clear minions. You know, they can do a lot of things. So I definitely think that this is a step in the right direction for Druid. I think this card will be pretty useful, and not too bad. Next up, we have Druid of the Saber, 2 mana, 2/1, that has choose one, transform to gain charge, or +1/+1 and stealth. I think the +1 and +1 and stealth is far superior to the charge because that just makes it a Bluegill Warrior, and any class can use Bluegill Warrior. But 2 mana 3/2 with stealth that you can just keep in hiding until you use your Savage Roar. I think that's really good. Obviously, it's killed by things by AoE board clears like Consecration, Flame Strike, Blizzard. But you know, other than that, I definitely think that it's a pretty strong card, and it only costs 2 mana. You know, it's an early game card, and I can see it being very strong for Druid, and it's also an alternative to if you don't draw Wild Growth, right? You don't draw Wild Growth. Well, you drew Druid of the Saber. You have a 2 mana drop that you can actually play for once as Druid. Huh? Who would have guessed, right? Next up, we have Darnassus Aspirant, which is basically Wild Growth. It's a 2 mana 2/3. Battlecry, gain an empty mana crystal, but Death Rattle, destroy a mana crystal. So this card can be very good. You know, if you play this card, it doesn't get cleared right away. The next turn you have 4 mana, you can play Pilot Shredder, and even if it dies after that, it doesn't matter because on the turn after it dies, you'll have 4 mana again, right? And you already used the 1 mana like bolster to play the minion that you wanted. Then it doesn't matter if you lose it. Obviously, you can silence this card to make sure you never lose mana crystal. But do you ever really want to silence your own minion, especially your own 2 mana 2/3? That just gives you a mana crystal? Not really, right? So I don't think you would ever silence this card. So it definitely has some potential. It might help out ramp Druid just a little bit, and we'll definitely see where it goes as a card. Astral Communion, 4 mana spell, gain 10 mana crystals and discard your hand. I'm not entirely sure where this card is going to be useful. And it also doesn't say, like, if you play this card on turn 4, you obviously use up your 4 mana crystals. But do you get back those 4 plus the 6 that fills up your bar to 10 mana? Or do you just gain the 6 mana crystals that you were missing and get 6 mana for the turn? Because they're not empty mana crystals. It doesn't say empty mana crystals, which means that they are indeed full mana crystals. But the question is, do you actually, you know, like, get all 10 mana, or do you get 6? Which actually can matter quite a bit. If you only get 6, and let's say you had like a Acolyte of Pain or a Loot Hoarder out on the board, well, you can, you know, sacrifice those minions or at least hit into something else in order to draw a card, and then you have 6 mana to play with that you wouldn't normally have on turn 4, right? So you can do that, and you know, if you draw like a Druid of the Claw, you can play that, and that's not so bad. But obviously that puts yourself into a top deck war against, you know, someone who hasn't discarded their hand and most likely has some decent cards in their hand, which in its own right sucks. But I definitely think that this card can be kind of useful. I don't know if it's going to see any play or not, but we'll see. Next up, we have Savage Combatant, the 4 mana 5/4 beast that is give your hero +2 attack this turn. Now, a lot of people have been giving this card some flack because its stats aren't that great. You know, it only has 4 health. Its Inspire isn't that great because you don't necessarily want to hero power on turn 5, because then you have to play a 3 mana drop, and well, Druid doesn't really run 3 mana drops other than Shade of Naxxramas, which is okay, but you don't really want to play on turn 5. You know, you start ramping up on turn 5 with you know, Druid of the Claws, you know, Loatheb, Sludge Belchers, and all those other 5 drops. You really don't want to be playing hero power. So There's that, but I think something very underrated about this card is that it's a beast, which means that Druid of the Fang now becomes a very real possibility. You play this card on turn 4, if it doesn't die, turn 5 you can play Druid of the Fang, and you get a 5 mana 7/7, in which there you get abnormal stats, and most Druids don't run any beasts because there's not really any good beasts. This isn't a great beast, but I think the fact that it's a Druid card, and two, that it's not like it doesn't have horrifyingly bad stats. I think it's pretty good. I think it can definitely make Druid of the Fang see a resurgence. And if you wild growth into innervating Savage Combatant out, the hero power Inspire mechanic can actually help you clear the lower minions, because obviously your opponent's going to be behind you in mana. So that will definitely be very useful. As for right now, though, I'm going to say it's a mediocre card, some possibilities, but still not that great. Next up, we have the Druid Legendary card that has been revealed, Aviana. 9 mana, 5/5, your minions cost 1. Obviously, the goal with this minion is to play it and then be able to play something right after. So you either want to play it on turn 10, or you want to play it on turn 9 with an Innervate, maybe 2. You want to play it, before I go any further, what I've heard is that if you play Emperor Thorson with Aviana in your hand, then when you play Aviana, all the minions don't cost 1, they cost 0. So if that were to happen, obviously that's an insane combo, but the chance of you having both of those cards in your hands at the same time on turn 6, pretty bad, and if you do, game's not looking too good for you, bud. I'm sorry. Anyways, I'm interested in this card. If I get it, I'll definitely try it, but I'm not going to say it's amazing, I'm not going to say it's terrible just yet. We have to wait and see, honestly. Next up, we're going to move on to the Hunter. So Hunter has a new 1 mana drop, a 1 mana 2/1 called Brave Archer. It inspires, if your hand is empty, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. So the idea is, if you have this card on the board, you have no card, you hero power to do 2 damage, and then this card's Inspire makes you do 2 more damage. So your hero power does 4. But if your hand's empty and you have a Brave Archer on the board, a 2/1, you're in pretty bad position as Hunter. Generally, the only time you ever empty your deck is to draw a card with Quick Shot. Other than that, if you're out of cards, you're out of luck. You probably lost the game. So I don't think Brave Archer is going to be that good, although it does add a bit more, I guess, to face Hunter, but not really. Next up, we have Lock and Load, the Hunter Epic card that has been revealed. It's a spell, and each time you cast a spell this turn, add a random Hunter card to your hand. Not that good. This card costs 2 mana. Oh my god. Oh, that was weird. Anyways, this card's not that good because most people really don't run spells in Hunter, and if they do, it's like spells that go face, right? There's like Hunter's Mark is one. They run kill commands, Unleash the Hounds, but that's about it. And getting a random Hunter card added to your hand isn't necessarily like, oh my god, I got a random Hunter card, They're not necessarily that great. Maybe if you pulled a King Crush, maybe, but even then, I still don't see it being that good. So I'm gonna have to give this card a no. On a scale of 1 to no, it's a no. I don't really know what I meant to say with that, but it's just not a good card. Next up, we have Ram Wrangler, 5 mana 3/3 with a battle cry. If you have a beast, summon a random beast. So this card can be interesting. Obviously, it spans all of the beasts in the game, not a Hunter beast, not a neutral beast. It can be any beast. But again, there are really weak beasts. There's Wind Fury Dragonhawk, or wait, what's it? Something like that. It's the 1 mana 1/1 beast with Wind Fury. There's Haunted Creeper, 2 mana 1/2. Like these are cards you don't want. If you got something decent like a Savannah Highmane, a King Crush, that would be great. But realistically, most of the time you're not going to get something that great, and this card's not going to be played probably at all. Next, we have Ball of Spiders, 6 mana spell, summon 3/1/1 web spinners. This has to be the worst card in the game, or at least in this expansion. This card is like terrifyingly bad. Summon 3/1/1 web spinners. Like, you don't want web spinners because they can give you shitty beasts, just like the Ram Wrangler. Like, you just do not want this card in your hand at any point in time in the game. You don't want to play it, you don't want to see it played, and that's just it. Next up, we're going to move on to Mage. Mage has the new 2 mana 3/2 card coming to them. It is a rare, and it's your hero power deals 1 extra damage. This card is a card I like. This card goes with the new hero power thing, which also comes with Koldar Drake, which I will get to in a second. And this is what makes what I personally think the only good hero power based deck. You can run 2 Fallen Heroes, 2 Koldar Drakes. So let's say you get a Koldar Drake down, you play Fallen Hero, and then you have Maiden of the Lake. Let's say you have them all out on the board. Then on the turn after, for 10 mana, you can hero power 10 times, and that's 30 damage. If you have 2 Fallen Heroes, because that makes it 3 damage. This makes it so you can hero power any number of times, and Maiden of the Lake makes it so your hero power costs 1. You can deal 30 damage with your hero power. Extremely rare case that all 4 of those minions would survive, and you would have 10 mana to use, but definitely one of the cooler effects. And I think Fallen Hero on its own is good enough because it's basically giving you an arcane shot for 2 mana rather than 1, but it's not costing you any cards. Like you can use it whenever you want. So I think Fallen Hero is a great card. I think it's going to be running a lot of mage decks now, and it's definitely going to be something that actually sees a lot of play. Next up, we have the new secret, Effigy. When a friendly minion dies, summon a random minion with the same cost. This card's not that good because it's a secret. The only real time you would get value out of this is if you have a minion that dies that costs like 5 or more. Then you can get some good value out of it. Obviously, if your minion costs something like 8 or something and it dies and Effigy goes off, that's amazing. But the amount of times where that's going to happen is probably pretty low, and you have to play an extreme new control mage deck that doesn't exist right now in order to get that value. So I just don't see it being that good personally. Next up, we have Spellslinger, 3 mana, 3/4 with battle card. Give both players a random spell card. I think this card's okay because it has great stats. Sure, you're giving your opponent a spell, which is completely RNG based, but you're also getting a spell for yourself, which is also completely RNG based. But at the same time, I think the stats are good enough for you to risk it, and if you do get a really good spell, then you just profit off of it, right? So I think that's really good. I definitely have no complaints about this card. I think it might even see some play. Next up, we have Flame Lance, 5 mana, deal 8 damage to a minion. It's that's just not useful. If you really need to clear a minion that bad, you have something like Polymorph. It's a 4 mana, change the minion to a 1/1. Sure, it's not as good, but a 1/1 is fairly useless in almost all situations. So I just don't really see Flame Lance being that good. It's an extremely slow card to play it on turn 5. Or 4 or 5 mana for that cost. It's just not worth it. I don't think you'll ever see a time where you get enough value out of it. So that it's fairly disappointing. Maybe if it was 5 mana, deal 8 damage, then it would cause some. I think that'd be really OP. But then it would start causing some controversy. So whether or not this card's OP. But yeah, it's just not good right now. Koldar Drake, as I mentioned before, it's a 6 mana 6/6 dragon, which is pretty interesting. It makes it so you can use your hero power any number of times. I think this card's really cool. I think it's going to be one of the cards that helps at least attempt to create some sort of hero power deck. Whether or not one will actually come to fruition, I don't know yet. I can't say that for sure, but I will definitely give it a shot. I really don't care. I would love to see some sort of hero power deck come out of Mage. So I think that's pretty interesting. Koldar Drake, pretty cool card. Next up, we have the Mage Legendary called Ronin. It's an 8 mana 7/7, and its death rattle is add 3 copies of Arcane Missiles to your hand. So I'm not entirely sure what to think of this card. The stats 7/7 for 8. Excuse me. The stats 7/7 for 8 mana aren't that good. But obviously you're getting 3 copies of Arcane Missiles into your hand. It's not necessarily like drawing 3 cards because all 3 of those cards are 1 mana spells, and they're all below average of what you would want to draw if you actually got to draw 3 cards. So they're not that good in that sense, but I mean, like, it's not horrible because one, it's a spell, so like they could be comboed with something like a Flame Waker if you still have one in your hand after this card's been after Ronan's been killed or something like that, or if you have I don't know, Wild Pyro, you can use it as a crazy board clear, something like that. But currently, I don't really know if this card's gonna be that good. I think it's interesting, but doesn't necessarily fit any of the mage decks that we have right now. So we're definitely gonna have to wait and see what kind of mage decks erupt from this new expansion. But anyways, guys, that was part 3 of my expansion review. I've gone through 3 of the classes now and all of the neutral cards. So I have 6 classes left, which means there'll probably be 2 more videos. So if you haven't already, please go check out parts 1 and 2 of my card reviews, and please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Trying to get back into the swing of YouTube things, and also trying to start streaming Hearthstone and maybe some League of Legends from time to time. So if you guys want to follow me on Twitch, there'll also be a link to the description in that. So I would really appreciate it, guys. I'm going to try and stream as much as I possibly can. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and have yourselves an amazing day.